Can you see me?
I can hear you. I do not see you yet.
Hold on. Here we go.
It's always a button here or there.
Hold on. How about that?
Beautiful. Great to see you
Oh,
this morning. How's it
well, thank,
going over there?
thank you so much. Beautiful. This early in the morning. Thank you.
I guess are you on the western coast this morning?
No, I'm on the East Coast.
Okay. I'm coming to you from Peachtree Corners, Georgia, which is a
I
little
know where you.
north of Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, and you're from Stockbridge, Georgia.
Yeah, I hadn't been there in 45 years. I,
Well, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. I rarely go back, maybe every 5 years or so. I got a little bit of family left over there, but yeah, I know how that feels.
yeah, it's that's where we were born. They always go Stockbridge. I was like, I don't even know what's there. You know, there are a couple of funerals I've had to go to.
Yeah, I guess what's still there are probably Walmarts and Targets and Home Depots. That's
That
that's the typical.
yeah, we had to live with our family early in our career just because we didn't have any money. Somehow money got disappeared, and we all had to move back to our family's basements. And we'd always meet at the Kroger parking lot before we went on tour. And it's just like I don't. I think it was the fast food capital of the world. I used to make the bus. I just pick a different Long John Silver's. Let's meet there this time, or Burger King or whatever. All those crazy fast food restaurants. It was kind of a fun little game we had there for a second.
Yeah, all these places have these huge boulevards and like everything's on them, like anything you could think of, and there's so much traffic.
Yeah, yeah, the Walmart, the Kroger's, Publix, and dollar stores, like, and then every fast food, like every chain is on that main street back then anyway. Main street of Stockbridge. It was just crazy.
Yeah, yeah, but that's where it all formed. It's where you got
Yeah,
your muse from
there.
as you were growing up.
Yeah, we grew up there, and I worked at the studio, Reel to Reel Studios, there for, I guess, right at 10 years. I guess I was an engineer there, kind of learned my chops.
Yeah, a lot of talent came out of here from Atlanta. When I came from Cleveland, I was like, yeah, this is rock and roll capital of the world. I grew up near Eric Carmen, who just passed away. Those kind of people. I was like, I came down here. I was like, oh my gosh, you got everything down here. And then you all came along in the 90s. I've been here over 35 years now. So it was just fascinating seeing how you came on the scene and how you grew. And you've now, as a band, been together over 30 years. So
Yeah,
it's exciting. You ever think everything you be together this long?
it's funny. Yeah, it's funny you just mentioned Eric Carr because Mickey Thomas sang on a record with us. He sang like five background vocals with us on his.
Did
Remember
yeah.
he did "Fooled Around and Fell in Love." Wasn't that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it just hit me because we love Mickey so much, and I think Eric. I talked to him after he passed. He said he's a cool cat.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
really huge
just
talent.
I love history of music, and I love those. If it wasn't for them, there'd be no career of Collective Soul or me wanting to ever be a songwriter.
Yeah, your output is amazing. How do you get that vibe and that inspiration? It's some struggle and don't come out with nearly as much as you've come out with over the years.
I think it's just I'm at peace with what I wanted to do as a kid at 14, and they used to say you have your whole life to write that first record, and the second one there's so much pressure. I was like,
Yeah.
what pressure? I actually can afford a Honda Civic now and get my own apartment. I'm a girlfriend. I can live my life myself and focus strictly on songs, and that's just a part of what I am as Ed. I have to have a guitar, a piano around me at all times, and I just noodle all day long, and somehow something comes out of it. I don't know how or why, but it does. And I'm not one of those cats that wakes up at 9 in the morning, has a cup of coffee, and go, "Oh, I'm gonna go write a song." I just let it flow, man. And it just I don't I don't know the secret to it because if I did, I would have done it 10 years earlier than wait till I was in my 30s.
So it just hits you. Do you run off and just like have a notebook? Are you old school that way? Just scribble
Yeah.
things down or just put stuff on the iPhone?
Yeah, I'm very analog. I have pencils. You see my pencils right here, all my
Oh,
pencils,
wow.
and notebooks everywhere. And that's just I just never got into the computer thing. I just like analog.
Yeah, it's you're more in touch with it. And I've noticed that with Springsteen. He's just like got notebooks all over the place. I'm sure that stuff's gonna be auctioned one day.
You feel the flow when you're writing it. Typing it feels it doesn't have the same spirituality to me. When I'm writing it, I'm literally looking at it and feeling it because it's flowing through me with through a pencil. I know that sounds crazy or wacky, but it's true.
Hmm. Are you a big reader? Did you get into like reading lots of poems or novels? Is that what's inspirationally comes to you as a lyricist?
Yeah, Rilke's one of my favorite poets. I read a lot of that. And Bukowski, I read a lot early on. I go back to them every once in a while. Yes, I read a lot. Some are. I've really gotten into history lately. I go in sections. I think sometimes it's those I call them airplane books because they're easy to read and they're fun to read. Because you can read them on a flight from Atlanta to LA and LA to Atlanta back. You got a book done. Um, so yeah, it just depends what mood I'm in. But yeah, I read a lot.
Yeah, and that what lends itself to you having a double album out now. And you've wanted to do a double album for a while, it looks like. I was reading in the past you had management said, "Hey, back off the whole double album idea." But I love double albums. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is the first one that I could really think of that comes to mind. It's like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You open this thing
Well,
up, it's got illustration.
yeah, you had that was my first one, and then I started backing up in pop culture because I was kind of late bloomer. And then you had Exile on Main Street, White Album, Frampton Comes Alive.
Ugh,
You know, fun. Anytime I saw a double album, I felt like I was getting a good deal back in the day. Now people's attention span's so low, it was kind of dangerous to sit there and go, they got to, you think they're really going to listen to 20 songs? And I was like, I don't, I hope so, but it's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because we have the material and we feel great about it. And the band, as a kid, like you said, when I became an artist, I really dreamed one day that I'd have a double album, like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, with different flavors of music genre. You of course have the rock and roll, but we played around a little bit, piano ballads and things like that. It was just a fun exercise in the creative process, not only for me as a songwriter, but for us as a band.
yeah, Toppin is amazing. I don't know how he does it too, but he just concentrates on lyrics and supplies them to Elton, who you had once worked with. What was that experience like?
Well, he's my pop musical hero, and he lived in Atlanta, as you know,
Oh yeah.
right at, right up the street from where you are. Excuse me. Getting to know him, it's dangerous sometimes to meet your heroes, but what I tell all the time, we all know his background in his music. We all love his music, but his influence on what he's done outside of music, he's such a good hearted human being and he gives back. He's very knowledgeable in modern day music. He keeps abreast of all the new artists and is so supportive of those artists. He was extremely supportive of us, and it's it was it's kind of my reward of being in music. And you meet your musical hero, and he's even better than you could ever imagine as a
Yeah.
human being.
So true, so true. And we were so lucky to have him here in the Atlanta area. He used that as a base when he was touring like crazy and constantly recording. His output's amazing as well. Your new album, Here to Eternity, where does that title come from?
Well, we recorded at Elvis's house in Palm Springs. When Elvis passed, he had two homes he owned. Of course, everybody knows Graceland, but he had they call it the Elvis Presley estate in Palm Springs. So we met the people that owned it, and it had been nothing had been done to it since Elvis died. There was no furniture or anything in there, and they were trying to figure out what to do with it. And I was like, well, can we come in here for a month and do a record? And it still had the acoustical tile that RCA paid for Elvis. You can see I knew the spot where Elvis sang. He spent his last Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthday, and he recorded his last three gospel records in that house. So we staged it, brought furniture in, and just had a great time. And I lived in Elvis's bedroom. Our Sean Grove, our producer engineer, lived in Priscilla's bedroom, and we set the control room up in Lisa Marie's bedroom, and then we had all the instrumentation in the main big room next to the pool. And the boys stayed in Burt Lancaster's house. It was Burt Lancaster's house,
Oh,
so they stayed over there. And I was like, Burt Lancaster, Frank Sinatra, Frank Sinatra's everywhere in Palm Springs. It's like, here to eternity. The movie was From Here
Perfect.
to, like, Here to Eternity. That sounds just right for us, and it came that way.
Oh, Burt Lancaster goes way back. See him on TCM all the time, those
Yeah,
movies. Just like kids wouldn't even know anything about
I
that
know
these days.
when I've been doing interviews and they're younger, I was like, Burt Lancaster, and they're like, huh, what, who? Okay, whatever.
And tough even getting kids to know about Elvis. I remember the day Elvis died. This guy came out of an El Camino, straight out of the 70s, and told us the king is dead. I couldn't believe it. But that vibe must have really inspired you to just create in that house. And even
It did.
a recording was done in his bedroom.
Well, one song was, but in his main big room. And then, yeah, I came in with like 10 or 12 songs, and we were there. We were to be there for 29 days. And so I presented the first 10 songs to the guys, and we recorded them in 4 days. I was like, well, we still got 3 weeks to go here, fellas. Why don't y'all take a long weekend? And I set up shop in Elvis's party rooms, a big checkerboard room, and I had brought out about 100 LPs. That's how I listen to music. I'm still vinyl. I'll stream if necessary, but when I'm home, I only listen to vinyl. And I sat there for 4 days and wrote 10 more songs. And then they came in and recorded them in 5 days. I was like, y'all are wearing me out, guys. I need a break. That's all the songs you're going to get on this turn.
Wow. What kind of recording equipment could you get in a place like that? Is it set up studio wise? Were you able to get good recording? And then the mixing had to be probably a tricky process too, I would imagine.
No, the recording's easy nowadays with today's technology. It was just, half rack and mics. And we set Johnny, our drummer, up. We horseshoe around, and, we do three. Once we learn the arrangement and what everybody wants to do and the vibe we're going for, we do a three, no more than 5 takes, and it's done. We just, we're old school. And the mixing we didn't do there. That would have been a little difficult because it wasn't set up for mixing and things like that. So we did a little overdubs here and there at different spots after we got the basic tracks done. You get away from it for a second and kind of go, huh, let me try that vocal again. Or sometimes I couldn't even sing because the band's playing live, so there's no way I could do a vocal in there. It was just a scratch track just to get them through. But the overall basic tracks are all done there.
Great. And the opening track, your first single, Out Mother's Love, featuring Brian Ray from
Mm-hmm.
Paul McCartney's band. He was
Mm-hmm.
nearby. That sounds like just happenstance. Like, hey man, come on over, lure him
Well,
in with some food and get going.
that's exactly what I did. I've met him a couple of times, Paul and all of those guys, just on the road, and I didn't know he lived there. And literally, he walked into a restaurant, and I was like, Brian, and he's like, "Do I know you?" I was like, "Yeah, Ed from Collective." Kind of read.
How's that happen? That's
I was like,
Kismet.
he was like, "Yeah, I live here." I was like, "Cool." And I said, "Well, I'm staying at Elvis's house. You want to come over?" He goes, "Yeah, man, I've always wanted to check that out." He goes, "I live literally 2 blocks from there." I was like, "Cool. Why don't you come over? We'll break bread and eat some food." And I said, "By the way, will you bring a guitar while you're at it?" He goes, "I know what you're up to." I was like, "You damn right. Bring your guitar. I'll feed you well." He was awesome. And then his absolutely gorgeous. He has a swimming pool in the shape of a guitar. I was like, "Now this is Palm Springs right here, buddy." And then, like I said, we had Mickey Thomas who lived there. So I did the same trick to him. I was like, "Hey, dude, why don't you and your wife come over and we'll have dinner?" And I had him sit there at 1 o'clock in the morning singing background vocals on about 5 songs. Had the best time. Then I brought out um, Peter Stroud from Sheryl Crow's band,
Yeah.
band director. He lives in Atlanta. So when I did the second 10 songs, I knew the guys were excited because we truly finished a record. But I really thought, man, this is a special moment in time. They're on fire. Let's get this done. So I called Peter. I said, I want to surprise the boys. When they come back in, I want you to be here because he helps us a lot, records with us a lot. He's like, honorary member of the band. So they showed up in the room and Peter's there. It kind of lit a fire under my, I knew I had him then to get at least 10 more.
Oh, incredible, incredible stuff there. Yeah, Peter Stroud from Sheryl Crow's band has just done amazing stuff. But yeah, just really wonderful. You're going to take this stuff all out on the road, so you must be excited about that. I remember meeting Edwin McCain, who's going to be with you on the road as well, and then Hootie and the Blowfish. So you've done these kind of bills before, where you're with other acts and traveling pretty nice venues too, and coming here in the Atlanta area to Ameris Bank Amphitheater.
Yeah. The cool thing about this tour is we've all known each other before we were all signed, and we all ended up on the same label. And our demeanor is very similar. You know, Southern boys, no egos, just out there to feel blessed that we get to do what we want to do 30 years later. And that goes with from Edwin to the four boys and Hootie. Um, we just have a good time with each other, like I said. And I just think it's a good package, and people walk away going, man, that was fun. That's what you wanted to walk away going, man, that was fun.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see all of you you creating new stuff. You're not just like just doing this Vegas-y review greatest hits thing. Of course, they
No,
want to hear the big stuff, but it's great that you're still producing. You're still, active, and that's very inspiring to see that.
well, thank you, and it's very inspiring for us. I don't think we'd still be a band if we had to, if I had to call the guys and go, okay, here we're doing Shine Heavy World December. They'd look at me and go, I don't know. And we got to do something to keep us inspired too. And we're very grateful for those songs. Don't get me wrong, we play those songs, and each night I just in my heart just go, thank you, because if it wasn't for those songs, we wouldn't still be able to do what we do with new material. And
Hmm.
that's an extension of who we are, what we are. We're not going to rest. I mean, we already have another record. We have two more records already done. One we want to put out Thanksgiving on Record Store Day, and then the piano orchestration record we'll release next year. So we're still moving.
Oh, that's awesome to hear that. It really is. So when you put together a set list, how do you do that, or is it the band as a
I, I
democracy do it?
I do it because I have to know the flow. I mean, if I left it up to them, we'd be all over the place. They don't understand there has to be a flow. They just whole time. I'm like, dude, we got to bring it down a little bit. Let them catch their breath, and also let me catch my breath. 60 years old, acting like I'm 24 up there. It's starting to hurt a little bit, or at least, you know, catch take one knee to catch my breath. So I do try to interact to where you do want to present the new songs, but you don't want to do it in a way to where it's just all of that. So I think we do a good job, or I do a good job of intertwining the new and the songs that got the people there in the first place.
Yeah, do you put more of the classics towards the end, or do you think people just kind of like, okay, yeah, we're waiting for the encore? Do you feel the vibe coming from the audience? Or if you do something new, you're hoping you're going to get this great reaction with the new material.
Well, the first thing you do is you play the new songs first because everybody's excited. They don't even care. And they probably are sitting there thinking, what record's that off of? And it's not even out yet. And that way they're not taking a pee break, at the
Right,
beginning.
right.
And then we probably throw Shine in fourth. So we let people know, okay, that's done. And that's not all you got. So, and then you start intertwining it from that point on, maybe one or two more new ones. But you throw them in between World, December, Better Now, River, but we don't do encores. We
Oh,
stopped that a decade ago. I thought that was cheating the people because you walk off stage, you're going to come back. You're waiting 2 minutes or however long you want to feed your ego back there for them to clap. I was like, we don't do them anymore. We just play till we're done.
oh, wow. I didn't know that. Wow. Now I've got to go see y'all at the, I keep missing all, I'm always at like other concerts. I'm going to see the Stones here in June. But yeah, Ameris is not too far from me, so I got to get out there and see it. It's
You
just
bet. You better get
yeah.
out there. I mean, doing it.
Yeah.
You've been living here for 30 years and you haven't seen us. Shame on you.
I know. I feel terrible every time. It's either I'm out of town or I've just, other projects going on. So yeah, I have no excuse this year. Absolutely. And
Right.
maybe
You're in
even if I'm up in Cleveland.
time out here soon.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. Great new tracks on here. I just love it. It's just really good stuff. This song called Over and Out, that's your closer. And it's
Mm.
about, your life, probably sounds kind of somewhat personal. That sounds very interesting.
I wrote it. It was, well, I guess now 2 years ago. It was my niece, the first kid in the family to go off to college. And she had lost her mother to breast cancer, my sister-in-law, 2 years earlier. So Zach, my brother-in-law, was just having a hard time. They were doing their graduation party, and he just went in. He said, "Just walk with me," and just went into a room. And he goes, it's just time for her to move on." And he was just bawling. Then I had another friend whose daughter was leaving for college. Literally the next day, calling me bawling, just going, "My daughter's going away." And so just that night I just said, I got to write about this. So it's about, you know, these two gentlemen who are dear to me watching their girls grow up and go away, but
Yeah.
never go away, but just physically move out of the house. They never go away emotionally and all of that. But it was just very caught me at the right time.
Yeah, it's a really weird feeling when your kid first goes away to school and just that moment, they're gonna come back. But I'm just like, gosh, I'm bawling all the way from South Carolina to here that day. It was like, a few years back, but I was like, wow, that's just a really strange feeling.
Right.
But Collective Soul, just wonderful. I mean, part of the 90s. I remember hearing you on 99X here, one of those stations here in Atlanta, and
Yeah.
just very much part of our soundscape here, and also the single from Scream 2, which was very, very big here. So just wonderful music. Wonderful. Absolutely. And just I definitely hope to see you on the road very soon.
Well, you can see us up the road. Come on out.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. And here it is. It's called Here to Eternity, new double album from Collective Soul. And are you going to do some re-releases of your classics now that you have this 30th anniversary this year?
Yeah, we started that a couple of years ago. We re-released them on vinyl. Like I said, I'm a vinyl head, so vinyl means a lot to me. Means a lot.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Well, take care. Have a good one. And thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.